So Black Friday and Cyber Monday for 2020 are certainly going to look a little bit different this year than in previous years, but that doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't be able to find good deals. You know, Black Friday and Cyber Monday is one of those things where you either really love it and are really excited for it, or there's the other half of people that are just convinced that it's all bad deals and they almost make it their mission to convince other people to not shop Black Friday. My opinion, in general, sure, maybe not necessarily every single Black Friday deal is going to be the ultimate best deal, but the reality is given the choice between either buying a computer or just some generic tech product, either on Black Friday or some random day in April, I'm definitely going to choose Black Friday or some Cyber Monday over just some random other day. While it's certainly true that there are stores out there that will actually mark up prices during Black Friday, or at least charge you a regular price and make it look like it as if it's a deal, you know, I kind of view it like this, that worst case scenario, you're buying a product during Black Friday at normal price that you would have paid otherwise, but there's a good chance that the product you're buying on Black Friday, especially tech products, is actually a good deal. Even if it's just saving you $5, that's still a better deal than paying full price at any other given time. Now let's jump into some of the tech deals to view for 2020 as far as Cyber Monday and Black Friday. And sure, some of the prices are going to change a little bit, but these are general products that I think you should be looking at to get the best deals. And I'll throw in some general tips too to find some of these good deals. But the first general category I want to talk about is headphones. So regular AirPods are, I think, something that, you know, a lot of people are always looking forward to. And generally you can find the good deal at Best Buy or Walmart right now for $110. You know, at a warehouse deal, it ends up being at $120, you know, normally on their regular sale. So I generally think of these AirPod deals at $110 as a good deal. You know, even though it's only a $10 difference, that's still, you know, fast food pickup for, you know, some random dinner. The other pair of headphones that you can find a pretty good deal on is the Beats Solo 3 headphones, which you can actually find at Walmart right now for $120, or actually when it's Black Friday, you'll be able to buy it online for $120. So that's a pretty good deal right there. You can actually buy them right now on Amazon if you don't necessarily want to wait any longer, and you can buy that for $175. Or if you don't necessarily care too much about the color, you can actually find them at Target right now for $155. I suppose with all that money saved, you can actually pick up a black spray can and just spray paint your headphones black. I don't actually recommend doing that. Another great deal that I highly recommend is the Sony XM3 headphones. It's actually a little bit longer of a name, but I actually have these headphones for noise canceling. They're over the ear. They work absolutely great. In general, they usually go for about $300 normal price, but I actually see these regularly on sale for about $250, sometimes at warehouse deals. But you're actually finding them at Costco right now for $230. Now, another great category as far as deals, especially if you're looking at Costco, speaking of which, is just storage devices, whether that be SD cards or external hard drives. You know, Costco actually has a great deal on an 8 terabyte external hard drive going for $120. And if you actually do the math, that's actually about $15 for one terabyte of storage. And speaking of which, one of the reasons I recommend this deal is because Costco has this concierge service where they actually extend their warranty for 2 years on top of the manufacturer's warranty. I have actually read some negative things. I've never actually used it myself as far as the warranty process, but Costco usually generally stands behind their products. But if not, what I would also recommend is make sure you make your purchase with a card that has a credit card that has an extended warranty protection, like, you know, American Express Gold cards or even Platinum cards tend to have those types of protections. Now, the other general category I think everybody should be keeping an eye on, I'll just kind of generally lump it all together, but it's basically any product that's sold either Amazon or Google. For example, Amazon selling their own Echo product, or if you're interested in a Ring doorbell, now is probably the best chance to get it, or an Amazon Fire tablet. Any of those types of things that Amazon itself owns, they're generally going to have a better deal on that, especially during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But just in general, they're going to give bigger discounts on that than they would any other product. The same is true for Nest products. You can generally find them a better deal at Target or Costco versus actually going directly to the Google website, but I would also check there as well. But the reason this ends up happening so much is because they're basically trying to get you into the ecosystem. If they can sell you a Nest thermostat at a really great discount right now, that's beneficial to them because perhaps later on you end up buying some of their Nest cameras at regular price or even just a slight discounted price later on down the road because you're already into that ecosystem, you're already using their app, so you're more likely to buy their product. Now, in general, when it comes to kind of prioritizing your list as far as which deals you want to hit first, I actually would generally rank these Amazon Echo or Nest products lower on my list because almost every single type of holiday or type of sale, whether it be a 4th of July sale or Christmas sales, they generally end up discounting these products first before they have any other deals. So these deals that they're offering right now, it's probably a good chance that they're going to have another deal sometime down the road. Now, the next area I want to cover before I actually get into it, I want to give a few tips. It's going to be tablets, and I kind of feel like this is a good segue into two general tips. One being, you want to make sure, at least for me personally, my general recommendation is to buy tech products that aren't necessarily off-brand when it comes to Black Friday deals, even though they're the most enticing. And the reason I say this is because if you do a lot of reviews for, like, let's just say a doorbell, right? You have a smart Wi-Fi doorbell, but it's an off-brand versus buying something like Nest or an Amazon product. They generally have an app that's not necessarily functioning too well, or maybe they have poor customer service. But when you go look at the reviews of the product, typically they're just reviewing the product itself and saying that the doorbell works just the way that a Nest doorbell would work. So it works the same, but they're not necessarily reviewing the app, especially after a few months. Maybe the app works perfectly for the first month, but it doesn't actually work perfectly consistently throughout a year. So you really want to make sure that you're not buying those off-brand products. The other general tip I would have included as well is really make sure that you're looking at the model and the year that this product was made. So a good example of this would be something like a computer or TV. You may buy a TV that may seem like it's a good deal, but the reality is this very specific model number has like -0.1 or .0A or whatever on it. And what that ends up meaning is that they end up removing the Bluetooth functionality of it. Or perhaps it's not necessarily Ultra HD, it's just HD. And it's not necessarily so obvious on the box or the ad that you're buying. So you really want to make sure that you're buying that specific product and you're getting all the features that you care about. Another good example of this would be like the Nintendo Switch. Sometimes they end up having a really great deal on a Nintendo Switch, but it's actually a previous year's model and the battery life isn't necessarily as great as future models or newer models. So the Amazon Fire tablet is actually going for less than $100. I actually recommend this as a pretty decent deal if you're wanting something that kind of is in between something that actually performs well versus something that is so low end that it doesn't actually work that well. This would be a general kind of a mid-range tablet that I think is fair for the price. If you actually want a better deal and you want a cheaper model, you can actually look at Lenovo for Walmart. They're generally selling it right now for $80, but it's expected to go down for Black Friday to generally about $50. If you want to go a little bit more premium, you can actually look at Costco because they're selling their Galaxy tablet for above $200, but it's still a pretty good deal if you're looking for a higher end tablet that's not necessarily going to break the bank. Now, I should say with all of these different deals that I'm mentioning right now and throwing up on the screen, I generally recommend right before you go buy it, make sure you just kind of Google out there, that product, that specific product you're looking for, and see if you can find any better deal, because deals are always going to be changing just in general, but especially throughout the next week. The other general thing I would recommend, especially stores like Target and Kohl's, they sometimes have deals, percent discounts lumped in together that you can kind of combine, and maybe you're paying a little bit higher of a price, but you're ending up getting more in return. So a good example of this would be Kohl's. So if I end up buying, let's say the Nintendo Switch, it's $305 there versus I could buy it at Walmart for $300. Well, Kohl's ends up giving this Kohl's Cash where I end up spending $30. I think right now it's like you get $15 back in Kohl's Cash, and that can be used for future purchases down the road. So it actually ends up being a better deal if you have a good use for that Kohl's Cash, even though you're paying a slightly higher price. That Kohl's Cash can be used for something like, t-shirts or socks, and those are great. As we know, those are really great Christmas gifts for people. So kind of another area I want to touch on as far as tech for Black Friday and Cyber Monday to be looking out for is that kind of tech home category. So we're talking about air fryers or Instapots or, slow cookers, or even those robot vacuums like Roombas. Those are generally going to be a really great deal right now as well. A good example of this would be Instapot from Costco right now is going for about $60, which in general usually goes for about $80. So you're getting a pretty good deal there. Plus, I'm actually buying this myself, so I'd have to admit that I'm not a good deal finder if, I'm buying this myself. The other area is these robot vacuums. That's an area that's going to have huge discounts, which in general, I'd recommend if you want a better deal to actually go a slightly higher model than you would normally buy. The higher ends are going to have the bigger discounts. That doesn't necessarily end up always being true, and we can actually see that with the highest end Roombas. They're actually only getting discounted about $100 versus there's other models getting discounted even better than that. So kind of as a starting point, I'd recommend everybody just go on Amazon and look at the different Roomba deals right now. The Roomba i3, which actually has its own disposal system, is going for $400 on Amazon. So that's actually a pretty crazy deal, especially when you're considering that about 5 years ago, buying the lowest end Roomba was probably about $500. So I actually generally think this is a pretty good deal. Plus, the other reason why I use Amazon kind of as a starting point if you're interested in these robot vacuums is because it's a really easy way to kind of compare the different models, figure out what you actually want for the price, and then end up, once you find that model that you actually want, or if you're kind of torn between two different models, Google out there which are going for Black Friday, maybe you can actually find it slightly cheaper at Target or Best Buy or somewhere like that. So that's it for the general tech categories I'd be keeping an eye out for Black Friday and for Cyber Monday for 2020. I didn't necessarily want to get too specific on products because when you do that, just kind of the same thing why I didn't necessarily touch on TVs and computers, because it ends up being more needs-based. You can definitely find a great deal on a computer or a TV, but the problem is if you look at a very specific deal, if you're not necessarily interested, like let's say you had a bad experience with Samsung, then if I show you a great deal on a Samsung TV, you're not necessarily going to care for it. In general, I actually do think it's a good idea to buy a TV or computer or any kind of appliances during Black Friday, because in general, that's probably when you're going to get at least a decent deal, maybe not necessarily the ultimate best deal. A lot of people will say it's better to buy a TV after Super Bowl, but it's like, you don't necessarily even know if that's going to happen next year or not. But I would actually advocate a lot for people to find the features and model you actually want first, and then see if there's a deal out there or not. Because if you end up just compromising on the actual model you want or features you care about and just going with the best deal, then this is a choice you're going to have to live with for a number of years. Appliances and computers are things you have to live with for a few years versus something like headphones. If you're not happy with that purchase, you can just buy a new pair, within a year or two. So that's it for this video. I thought it'd just be interesting to talk about some of the Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals, especially because I, have always been a person that really enjoys Black Friday and Cyber Monday, maybe a little too much. And I generally like finding good deals, so I thought I'd share the general categories that I thought people would be interested in. And if you like personal finance, behavioral finance, or economics, or topics like that, those are topics I really enjoy talking about. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more.